You won't believe what's next. Insistent, Chris got the puzzle manager to hand her the Rubik's Cube and confidently explained its mysteries. While skillfully manipulating the cube, people often say that luck favors the prepared. Chris, at a crucial moment, bravely showed her talents. The manager initially had a casual let's-see attitude towards Chris' Rubik's Cube. As the cube's colors aligned, the manager's expression shifted from skepticism to seriousness, forcing her to reevaluate the young woman. Time flew by unnoticed. The manager had arrived at her destination, but was completely oblivious, utterly captivated by Chris. Even the driver didn't dare to hurry them, scared to interrupt the spectacular scene. "You're almost there," witnessed by both the driver and the HR manager. Chris held her breath, hands moving swiftly over the cube, time frozen. Everything fell silent. Finally, she completed the cube. The manager's face displayed disbelief, but the name Chris was clearly etched in her mind. Perhaps, owing to the overwhelming shock, the manager's thoughts were still engrossed in the recent scenario, causing her to forget to pay the $18 cab fare when she stepped out of the vehicle. Unable to pay, she clutched her handbag. When the cab stopped at the intersection, Chris opened the door quickly. Like an arrow, she bolted into the subway, thinking she'd cleverly dodged the cab fare. But just as the subway doors were about to close, her scanner got stuck outside. Chris stood inside the train, gazing at her scanner like it was a sad puppy left out in the rain. A wave of sorrow washed over her. Just then, her son delivered more bad news. The kindergarten was only putting on TV for the kids to kill time. Plus, the content wasn't even kid-friendly. Chris felt a surge of anger and unease, but upon reaching the kindergarten gate, she noticed some typos on the wall signs. So, she confronted the kindergarten only to be mocked. "If you're not happy, go to offense 1." Those words hit Chris like a punch in the gut. She could only exit the door with a heavy heart, feeling utterly defeated. Unexpectedly, she spotted the busking thief who stole her scanner days ago. Chris saw a glimmer of hope and dashed off. Oblivious to the bustling traffic around her, her only thought was, "I have to get my scanner back." Luckily, in the split second before the bus pulled away, she squeezed on board and reclaimed her beloved scanner. She couldn't believe her husband hadn't sold it. Instead, he ended up with 2. His wife, disappointed, began to dislike Chris, deciding to escape their gloomy life. Chris wanted to win back his wife's heart, but she remained indifferent, seeing him only as a failure unable to bring family happiness. The next afternoon, after little Chris came home from school, his wife left with her. Upon hearing the news, Chris panicked and sprinted home, tears mixing with the rain on her face. When Chris finally stumbled home, chaos greeted her. Clothes were strewn everywhere as if a tornado had hit. Her wife's resolve was rock solid. No turning back. Chris couldn't believe her once joyful home was gone. The family that once filled her with joy had collapsed in an instant. She remembered her wife would take their child to school, so the next Chris arrived early at kindergarten, no longer hoping for reconciliation, just to keep her son. This sparked another argument. "Did you leave?" "Yes, I'm gone. You get that I hear." "Chris is with me. You've brought us down. Can you hear me? You're the weak one." "No, I'm not happy anymore, just unhappy." "You need to stop being happy, seriously. Chris is with me. Do you hear what I'm saying?" That night, Chris picked up her son early, clumsily preparing dinner for him. She tried to create a cozy atmosphere, awkward yet loving her child, longing for family. Just then, the phone rang. Chris thought it was her wife, but it was her manager calling to inform her about her very important interview coming up. The manager told her to note the secretary's number for interview details. Chris saw hope in her gloomy life, but there was no pen, so she pretended to write with an imaginary one. She silently memorized the important number as she hung up, constantly repeating that long 18-digit phone number in her mind. In a panic, she rushed to the supermarket, relying on her sharp memory and quick thinking. She memorized the number, thinking she had seized an opportunity, but the landlord angrily knocked as she returned. Chris had 3 months of rent overdue. The landlord was adamant, insisting they move out by tomorrow morning, as the painters needed to come in. To secure a stable home for her child, Chris sincerely begged the landlord for a little more time. She even offered to undertake the painting herself, and the landlord thought, well, that could save me some cash. Granted a week, Chris sorted things out. The next day, after dropping her child at school, Chris began painting the walls at home, but misfortunes came knocking as 2 officers pounded at her door. due to multiple unpaid parking tickets. It was finally time to face the music. The cops demanded she pay all the fines at once, and with no other choice, Chris had to fill out a check. After writing the check, officers told Chris to stay till bank opens next day for verification. This meant Ted spent a night in jail, but had a crucial interview at 10 a.m. next morning. Plus, there would be no one to look after her child after school. Chris thought and thought. She finally called her wife, asking her to babysit for one night. Her wife was completely fed up with her husband, but as the child's mother, she had no reason to refuse. As the night faded, a new day arrived. Chris finally managed to sort out that pesky ticket, but there were only 30 minutes left until the big interview. Time was tight, so she donned her paint-splattered clothes and ran like the wind to the interview venue, panting as she arrived.